The Irish landscape is a very rich, varied and very, very beautiful landscape. We engage with it, our ancestors have engaged with it, and some of the evidence of our ancestors' engagement with the landscape is still in evidence today. An important part of our rural landscape heritage is the wrought iron field gate. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that gate, and of course its two beautiful cut stone piers. This photograph was taken in 1947 and shows Jack and Julia O'Gorman of Raheen Denore Forge near Graignamanagh, County Kilkenny. Jack was a rural blacksmith, and you can see him here putting a rim banding on a cartwheel. Blacksmiths, as well as making and repairing farm machinery, made wrought iron gates. These gates are unique to our country and are a very important part of our legacy. However, with the needs of modern farming, particularly for wider gate openings to accommodate machinery, and the current insatiable appetite for scrap metal, these gates are under threat. During this short video, we're going to look at a number of gates, visit a farmer to look at how the old wrought iron gate can be adapted in a modern context, and we'll also visit a blacksmith to look at traditional methods of repairing and extending wrought iron gates. I have travelled extensively throughout the country surveying gates. I've also surveyed extensively here in County Kilkenny. And what has amazed me is the sheer variety of local design construction. The variety that blacksmiths have come up with in terms of design solutions to making gates. This particular gate was made at Kappa Forge in Innisteig, County Kilkenny. It carries the maker's name, Lee. And the Lee insignia is, you can identify those gates by this latch. And you can see many of them dotted throughout the local area here. The traditional method here using wrought iron, we have mortise and tenon joints here, and we have some riveting. And that would be the traditional way of joining these materials together. I'd like to introduce you to another gate. This is another Lee gate from the forge at Kappa. Again, you can see it from its distinctive, almost heart-shaped latch. Again, set on its two beautiful round piers with capping intact. This gate is in great condition, and so are the two piers. You can see that the edges are rounded on these bars. This gate was made from banding from cartwheels. Oh, Noel, how are you?
How are you? Sham, how are you keeping?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Well, you're a passionate man about the wrought iron gate. You've done a bit of work with a few of them here.
Yes.
What you dropped down are two girders, and you welded on a couple of...
Two steel RSJ and just weld on hangers onto them and a latch on that one.
Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah.
And this one has been extended slightly as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of feet put into it because they're generally about 8 feet wide, and you would need them maybe 12 feet wide for modern machinery. So you just put in a bars of the same width.
But here I think is a good example, Noel, of where you've used a traditional wrought iron gate.
Yes.
With the old tubular.
Yes, I suppose
gate.
It closes the width, the actual distance there pretty nicely, yes.
And those gates kind of will outlast that tube by a couple of 100 years.
For sure, and no galvanised.
And you've bought a few in as well.
I buy them if I see them, but it's getting difficult to buy them now because the value of them has been realised, and they're making a bit of money now, so people with them should use them, I suppose.
So, Noel, this is a gate that you relocated, did you?
No, that gate hung there, but it was too narrow, and I just widened it and moved the pillar out here to accommodate. The extra width is 12 feet wide now. It was 8 feet wide.
Oh, right. Yeah. And were those the two original pillars?
They were both there, but it was too narrow for machinery, and just to retain it, I had to widen it.
You welded on an extension piece, and
just 2.5 feet, I think, are the pieces into the gate, and they're the same width as the original bars. So, you know.
Well, I think that was one of the important things that I noticed when I was up here before with you, that this is one of the tastier jobs I've seen.
Is it?
That you went to the bother of getting the same width of bar.
Well, I'd say They were probably 1.5 inch flat, and that's
Yeah.
1.5 inch, which is readily available. You
Yeah,
know, it's,
yeah.
you know, it's readily available.
Yeah, in some cases, and though visually it doesn't look very well if that bar is fatter or
Yes,
thicker, you
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
And they're welded here.
Yeah.
The traditional way in old gate style, as you know, would be to overlap that with another wrought iron bar and perhaps to rivet it
Riveted.
either
But
side.
they didn't even rivet it. They just overlapped them and they hammered them together when they were hot, and they did stick.
Yeah, they forge welded them. We don't all, I suppose, have the facility to do forge welding or to do the rivets, but you've done a very neat job on this one. And retain the two piers as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Noel, thanks again.
Okay, Sean.
I'll talk to you. I'm here in the workshop of Paul Devlin and Christine Phelan in Crut, Castlecomer, County Kilkenny. They run a forge called Pristine Ironwork, and it's like an Aladdin's cave here with gates. And maybe, Paul, before we start, Paul is going to demonstrate two techniques to us today. But before we start, we might go and have a look at some of the gates outside.
There's some outside, yeah.
Yeah. Paul, this one here is a very interesting gate, made from flat wheel banding, yeah.
I love them gates because they're real vernacular. They really say vernacular, Irish vernacular to me, because they're made by the people, by the material they had.
Yeah, so this was about the only material available to this blacksmith at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see the latch even was made from a binding.
Yeah.
They rounded one end and flattened the other end. And have a nice latch.
Yeah.
There's an interesting gusset on it here. They put a right angle weld here.
Yeah.
And two rivets in there.
They've returned the right angle.
Yeah, rather than just depend on one rivet here.
Yeah.
They made a
in order for stability there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we have a look at this gate?
Oh, yeah,
just to have a look at some of the finished work that you've done or completed on this. A beautiful old entrance gate.
Again, it's work in progress. They're just hung between temporary piers.
And this is the traditional form, like here, the form of repair, if you like, to overlap a piece.
I sandwiched this top rail in between two pieces of wrought iron, forge welded them here, and then riveted them over in through the back style.
Okay, yeah. And on this one then, one of the vertical rails was missing, or part of it. A number of them are missing here.
I have one done, but I'm going to do the rest. And I just made part of a top rail and then riveted it on at the back. So you don't see the rivets at the front, you just rivet them at the back.
Okay, yeah, and this is wrought iron again?
All the repairs I do is done with wrought iron. You can use pure iron, but I try and use the traditional material.
And it's typical of a farm entrance gate?
It's a typical vernacular gate,
Yeah.
An entrance gate more so than a field or a yard gate.
Yeah. Today you're going to show us two traditional techniques of joining wrought iron together.
Yeah.
The first one you're going to demonstrate is the fire weld, and that is the joining of two pieces of metal together to become one.
Two pieces of wrought iron like this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to join them together with a forge weld.
Okay.
And then we'll rivet that piece onto a top rail. The idea is to get them to join together like that, and then when you hammer them out, they become the same thickness. So we're going to do that now.
Okay.
See the small sparks there now coming, so they're coming very near welding heat now, but the two pieces have to be at welding heat at the same time. So they're stuck at that.
Yeah.
So then I put them in and I put a good welding heat on them this side. That's that.
That's a lovely job.
And we'll rivet that onto the top rail. I make wrought iron rivets. So that's a made wrought iron rivet.
All right,
And
so
I'm going to-
before we came on air, as you say, here's one I made earlier.
Yeah,
is that
that's
right?
what I made earlier, yeah.
All right.
So I'm just going to show the riveting of this.
Yeah.
Usually you leave twice the diameter of the rivet sticking out to make the head.
Okay.
And the heads on these vernacular gates that have the head on the front.
Yeah.
So the head will be on the front and the hammered end will be on the back.
Yeah.
But that's the front then. You have the head there and the rail behind.
Yeah. That's a beautiful job, Paul. Yeah. So you've demonstrated the two main methods
Two
of
main
joining
methods, yeah.
wrought iron together
One
in
is
the traditional method.
a forge weld,
Yeah.
and the other is a rivet.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Paul.
That's it.
It's
Okay,
been a
Sam.
great and very
Thanks very much.
illuminating. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, and we'll meet again.
Meet again,
And the
yeah.
best of luck with the vernacular
Okay.
forged wrought iron field gate.
Thanks very much, yeah.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
I hope you've gotten something of value from this short video. I've travelled extensively throughout the country and met with many farmers who have genuine goodwill and respect towards this very important part and unique part of our landscape heritage. What can we do to preserve these beautiful gates and piers? If you have a wrought iron gate and its piers intact and hanging, and the entrance is proving too narrow for modern machinery, why not preserve it and open up a new field entrance nearby? I know that that's a lot of bother and time, but as they say, ní bheadh a la héad ann a rís, the likes of these will not be seen again. And in that context, I think it's worth preserving them, not alone for history's sake, but for the future, for those who will come after us. If you have old forged wrought iron gates lying around the yard and farm, you and I know that they can be very heavy and awkward if they're not hung properly. Why not hang the gate stock that we have, and this will give the wrought iron gate a new lease of life. If you have made a new wider opening, why not use two wrought iron gates hung opposite each other? This will secure a wider gate opening. The farmers in the following two images have hung two wrought iron gates opposite each other and put down a central removable metal closing stile. These are just some of the adaptations that can be made to ensure that the wrought iron gate lives on in a modern context. If you have a particularly nice set of piers, a fine set of piers and a gate, and the gate is in need of repair, why not have it repaired in the traditional manner that both respects the material itself, which is wrought iron, and the craftsmanship of the original maker? After all, this is our history, this is our heritage, and it is our responsibility. Thank you very much for taking the time, and the best of luck.
Tlog, il armo